it's time for the monthly reading wrap up. And if you've been keeping up on my channel, you know that I'm doing this mini series of me trying to reach my reading goal of 70 books. And because of that, I actually read 10 books this month. I am not going to talk too much about a book because honestly, if you go back and see any of my reading vlogs that I've posted in November, you'll definitely see how I'm feeling about each book in those reading vlogs. So I'm not going to go super in depth, but this is just my ratings and how I feel about them. So let's start with the first book I read this month, and that was What You Wish For by Catherine Center. Getting into this author, I heard that her stories are a lot deeper. It deals with real world problems. Going into this, I definitely got what everyone was talking about. I would highly recommend to check trigger warnings for this because I was not prepared. So this follows Sam, and she is a teacher at the school where there ends up needing to be a new principal. The guy who is now going to fulfill that principal role, she already knows, and she's excited about it because he is a really fun, really good with kids teacher, right? In the old school that she used to work at. Well, not no more because it's been 4 years since then, and he is no longer the fun teacher that she remembers. And so there's a lot of changes happening to the school and whatnot, and it was just really fun following along. It's also very much small town vibes. I will say towards the end, Sam, the main character, was getting on my nerves. She was being a bit too dramatic for me. Oh, and did I mention she literally used to be in love with the guy who's supposed to be the new principal now? Yeah. It is good. Okay. I give this book a 4 stars. I would recommend it. Check trigger warnings though. I'm definitely very excited to get into more of her books. Okay, next one. Ooh, okay, this one I listened to on audiobook, and it is Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. Ooh. So this is dual perspective between Annie and Will. Annie is this really sweet girl, owns a flower shop, but she feels like the only thing missing in her life is a partner, pretty much, and so she's on the hunt for that. She doesn't have much practice in the dating scene, and Will ends up helping her by going on like practice dates and whatever, training her basically. So cute, loved it. Small town vibes are like so, oh, I love them so much. 4.25 stars because I just love the atmosphere. I highly recommend Sarah Adams books if you're looking for something lightweight, simple, cute, entertaining. Ooh, I love them. The next book I listened to on audiobook is The Coworker by Frida McFadden. I went on, you're gonna see, but a little Frida McFadden binge this month, not gonna lie. Okay, The Coworker, it feels like forever ago when I listened to this. This one honestly didn't really hit for me, but it was still good. So this book really follows Natalie and how she has this coworker named Dawn who's always at work on time, except for this one day when she doesn't show up and Natalie's like, why isn't she showing up? Something's wrong. And then she gets a mysterious phone call that sounds like Dawn is in trouble, so it kind of just takes off from there. Lots of things happen. It's definitely the type to keep you on your toes and you're trying to figure out what is happening, like most of her books. It was really fast-paced and entertaining. Frida McFadden always has a twist in her books, so there definitely was one and I didn't see it coming, but that's routine for me. It was a good read. I gave it like a 3 stars, but like I said, it didn't really wow me as like The Housemaid did. Like, I'm still hung up on The Housemaid. The next book I read was Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston, and this I had originally DNF'd back in probably like, was it August or July or something? But I decided to pick it up again this month and give it a second try. And oh my gosh, I was so surprised at how much I loved it. This is the same author of 7 Year Slip, and I read that last month and fell in love with it. I kind of went into this book with a different mindset. Check trigger warnings because it honestly is very sad. So this book follows Florence, and she is a ghost writer, but she also has the ability to see ghosts. So being a ghostwriter, she has a deadline that she has to meet, but she hasn't even started because she thinks romance is dead, okay? She's not in the space to write about romance. So her editor, what's his name again? Ben is really pressing her for this book to be turned in. But around the same time, she ends up having to go back to her hometown, which she hasn't been to in years. There is where she ends up running into Ben, but this time he's a ghost. It's definitely giving like forbidden romance type thing. Like, he's literally a ghost, you know what I'm saying? For this one, I will say it was kind of slow for me in the beginning, but then once the romance hit, I was all in. I went in full force, okay? I loved it so much. There were some really, really good quotes, and there's a really like beautiful message that this book has. Okay, next book I listened to on audiobook if you can see a little trend going on. I definitely was only able to read 10 books this month because I also listened to audiobooks. So next book I read was The Inmate by Freida McFadden. This one honestly got me so worked up because the main character was getting on my nerves. She wasn't thinking. Let me calm down. This book follows Brooke, and she just got a new job as a medical, is it a practitioner at a prison? But the crazy part is that one of the prisoners in this prison is there because she got him locked up. That's really all you need to know. I was trying to guess the ending so hard and I thought I had something, but nope. This one really had me shook with the way it ended. I give this one like a 3.75. I recommend you read it, but just know that the main character, but I love the plot, okay? Then I listened to Ward D by Freida McFadden. So the main character in this book ends up having to spend a night at the psychiatric ward, kind of like overseeing it, making sure everything's good. There ends up being a lot of things going down in just this one night. I will say I wasn't really like super connected like to the characters or like really like cared for the characters in this book. I kind of got the same feeling as a Coworker where it didn't really like wow me. That one I gave like a 3 stars. Okay, then the next book that I listened to again is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, and oh my gosh, I loved this book so much. So this one follows Alexis and Daniel. Alexis is this doctor and she definitely has a representation to uphold because like her family is also like in the medical field and whatnot. And then there's Daniel. Daniel is a mayor in this small town. Again, love small towns. They're complete opposites when it comes like to career and lifestyles, right? But then they end up meeting each other and Alexis is down bad, but so is Daniel. But as you know, a lot of things go down and it was really good. It was really cute. Daniel was, he's a good one. He's a good one. Loved him. The next book I read was The Good Part by Sophie Cousins, and oh my gosh, this book, it took me 2 weeks to get through. Let's start there. Overall, I gave this book like a 3 stars. It wasn't bad. It didn't really keep me as entertained as I would have hoped. Going into this, I thought the concept sounded great. This 26-year-old girl ends up wishing that she can skip to the good part in her life. But reading it, I honestly just felt like I was getting nowhere. Like we were getting nowhere in the book. So it didn't like keep me as intrigued as I would have liked. But with that being said, I was very satisfied with how this book ended. I am happy I finished it. I guess maybe I was just expecting too much out of it because I did go into it thinking it was a romance. There was like nothing there for me to really cling on to. And then the next read, oh my gosh, I loved it so much. Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I really enjoyed this book so much to the point where I want to learn how to play chess now. This is a Rivals and Lovers, which just that alone, don't you want to read it now? Mal is like a retired chess player. Like she doesn't play it anymore until she gets a job offer and she takes that junk because she needs it. So with this job comes meeting and working closely with Nolan Sawyer, who is the chess king. Okay, but there's so much more than just the romance. It deals with family problems and just character growth and learning about yourself and so many good things. Really enjoyed this book. Would highly recommend. It's also Ali Hazelwood's first YA, and honestly there were some parts that felt a little too mature for YA. I was like, this is a YA book. Reading it, I felt completely immersed in the world. Like I became a chess player. And I don't know anything about chess. Okay, and the last book that I ended up listening to in the month of November was Never Lie by Freida McFadden. This one is about like a new married couple who are like looking for houses and they end up getting like stuck in one of the houses that they were looking at. The home used to be owned by this psychiatrist, but she went missing like 4 years ago. So the female main character in here, her name's Trisha, she ends up finding like old tapes and stuff of the previous owners, like clients. Just definitely a lot of like adding things together and like figuring out what's going on in this house and like what happened to the previous owner. This one had a crazy plot twist again. I didn't see this one coming, but then again, I wasn't really trying to figure out what was happening. This one I kind of just read for the vibe, and I gave it like a 3.25 stars. That could be maybe because I was just reading too much Freida McFadden this month. Maybe it sounded a little too repetitive to me. Not necessarily like the plots of her books, because they're very different, but the writing style. So I kind of just like knew there was gonna be a plot twist and all that stuff. So with that being said, it was still a good book, and I did like the concept. But yeah, that's pretty much all the books that I read in November. I feel like I read a lot of books. Like, I feel like I've been talking way too much in this video. If you're interested in seeing a reading vlog about any of these books mentioned, I'll go ahead and link the playlist in the description, because I've literally just been doing like weekly reading vlogs. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos of mine. And I'll see you guys really soon in my next video. Bye! The next book I read is Ward D. Really? Okay. I feel like I'm talking a lot. She takes care of her family. Oh my gosh, there's something in my eye. I can't remember names, guys. This is a problem. The Inmate? Where was I? Oh, I gave it like a 7 point, what? 7? No.